Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. Mr. McDonald, I was really troubled to hear Secretary Shinseki say that he felt like he was misled by VISN directors and other senior VHA leaders. The department just, they can't function if the Secretary is not getting honest information from the field and taking appropriate action. If you're confirmed, how are you going to create a better team and build trust and transparency?
Senator Murray, I think that's an excellent question. On day one, what I've got to do is I've got to get out and I've got to meet as many employees as I can. I've got to understand how they think about their role in the department. One of the things I pointed out is I think we have a pretty good strategic plan. When I looked at the strategic plan on the internet, again, I'm only looking at publicly available information, but the behavior of every employee in the department is not consistent with that strategic plan. We've got to develop a way to make sure that the behavior of every employee and that their expectation on their performance each year ties back to the strategic plan.
And you don't think that was happening prior?
I don't want to judge, but I can tell you that at the Procter & Gamble Company, one of the things we work hard to do is to take our strategic plan and make sure that every low-ranking, every employee in the entire company, if you rolled up their behavior every day, you would roll it up to that strategic plan.
Well, I agree with that too, but what Secretary Shinseki was directly saying was that he was misled by people who were telling him what they thought maybe he wanted to hear rather than the actual truth. So how do you build that trust to give you the information so that you can? I've got to be out.
I've got to be out there with the people in the field, and we've got to have the leaders who are vigilant, making sure that that trust is real. It's unconscionable to me that you would have an organization where one of the stated values, the first stated value is integrity, yet you have people lying, and you have people tolerating it. The West Point Honor Code says we don't lie, cheat, steal, but we don't tolerate people who do. You don't want people in your community lying. You don't tolerate them lying. So we've got to get into this and understand it in greater depth.
Okay, I appreciate that commitment. You know, I've talked with prior VA leaders about concerns of some of the facilities in my home state of Washington. The VA's access audit flagged many of those facilities for some further investigation, and the most recent wait time and quality data that VA released show shortcomings at Washington medical facilities, and I have raised in particular some real concerns about what's happening with the Spokane Medical Center, including whether staffing and budget shortfalls are hurting health care for veterans. If you're confirmed, how are you going to, not just specifically to Spokane, but how are you going to confirm oversight of these facilities and make sure that the resources are getting to the places where it's needed?
Well, I think that's part of the forecasting and projecting that I was talking about in conjunction with the strategic plan. What I heard from Secretary Gibson last week during his testimony was that the VA had not done a bottoms-up forecast before and that he was having some trouble getting that done. We've got to do a better job of that. We've got to be very open and transparent with all of you and all of our constituencies as to what we're forecasting. And then we've got to put the systems in place that can make sure our veterans are getting the appropriate care. We've got to be able to have the doctors, the nurses, the clinicians on the ground to be able to do that. I think digital technology will also play a role because it will help us. I know we have at the VA is known for a very good electronic medical record. And if we can get a scheduling system that is equally world-class, and there's no reason we can't, I think we'll be able to use that to help us better care for the veterans.
Okay, and really quickly, we've talked a lot about health care and wait times and everything else. I did want to ask you about as the veterans transition into civilian life, many of them are using their GI education benefit. Back in 2012, I passed legislation to make sure that our veterans have the facts available to them so they can make informed decisions so they are spending their GI Bill wisely. Recently, a GAO found that schools may provide inaccurate or incomplete information to prospective student veterans, and that the veterans themselves want independent, objective advice when it came to making their own education decisions. I know you aren't in there yet, but one of the things I really hope you focus on is helping make sure that our veterans make good choices when they use those education dollars.
If confirmed, I will certainly focus on that. I myself am a beneficiary of the GI Bill. I did my graduate degree using the GI Bill when I was in the 82nd Airborne Division, 18th Airborne Corps. My father was a GI Bill user as well. The GI Bill is a very important part of the fabric of this country, and we've got to make sure we keep it robust and with great integrity.
Thank you. Thank you very much. My time's out. Thank you very much, Mr. Chair.